Kenston girls get a second-half hat trick from freshman Skylar Cornell en route to a 5-1 win over visiting Brush on Monday night in a Western Reserve Conference match. Pretty impressive performance here from a young Bombers side. When you enjoy a 16-1 advantage in shots on target, certainly no reason to be a killjoy there. That suggests that you're dominant in the attack, and Kenston certainly was. But I would say that the second half was a lot more pleasing to me than that opening 40. I think in that opening 40, the off-ball movement at times was stagnant, if not worse than that. And granted, they had 9 shots on target, but a lot of that was from distance, and Brush was doing a serviceable job in the back. I think there was room for improvement rhythmically there in the second half, and Kenston was able to deliver that a lot better in the second half. They were taking advantage of off-ball runs a little bit better. They were dominant with ball winning, really took away the Arc's midfield identity almost entirely in that second half, and were able to pull away. And Cornell with a memorable night with a hat trick, like I said, after halftime, and assists on both of the Bombers' first half goals. Cornell really impressed me in this match. A ninth grader with the ability on the ball like that, 1v1 against more experienced defenders, to not only deliver switches, but to play touches into space, and also to be so unselfish with her service to set up her teammates. That suggests to me a complete player beyond her years as a ninth grader, and she certainly had a nice match here to help lead her side to a big victory. And, you know, Kenston, 4 freshmen in the starting 11, a lot of juniors, but you see the growth there. Does the consistency need to come more from a match result standpoint? Absolutely. We need to see more of that, but you can see the glimpses there. When Kenston is up 2-1 at halftime against Kirtland, the number 1 side in Division III in the state coaches poll the last 2 weeks, that tells you got a good side on your hands, and you got a group you can build around. And you can see that with this group. I feel bad. It's been a few years since I've seen Kenston girls in person, but it's encouraging to see the program in a good place here with some young players to build around, ninth graders like Cornell that you can mold and develop for a while, and then veterans in the side like Anna Sanders in the back, Bree Yurkovich up top, girls who've been around and know what they're doing. So it's a good mix of promise and experience, and hopefully they can put that together once we get into October here in the postseason. But you see the glimpses. It's just a matter of putting it together for a full 80. With Brush, look, no way around it. That second half was not good. The midfield identity, like I said, was entirely taken away. They couldn't possess it all. They couldn't link with their strikers up top. But the promise with the Arcs is just so tantalizing. With those 2 strikers up top, Maya Canaday and Kennedy Kemp, with their pace and Kennedy's size. Kennedy reminds me a little bit physically of Sydney Martin, who's such a great striker for the Arcs earlier in this decade. Sydney was more of a technically refined player and had a much better first touch, but with those 2 strikers up top, anything is really possible. I think Brush was playing maybe a little bit too direct in that opening 40, but the ball winning was there. Elizabeth Schultz had a good opening 40, but then in the second half, Kenston was really able to throw some pace on the Arcs there in the defensive third, and Brush had to spend a lot of time there in the back trying to clear things out. They were serviceable in that opening 40, almost got it to halftime 1-1, and then Bree Yurkovich was able to get a big goal there just before halftime, and then Kenston was able to pull away. But the future is promising there for Brush. I like the way that Tim goes about it. He's so positive on the touchline, and really sometimes you need that with a young side. You need to reinforce to them, hey, that was a good job keeping a good defensive shape. Nice win on a 50-50 ball there. Good idea trying to get a striker involved there with a chip wide right, or trying to play a nice through ball into space. You need to reinforce that sometimes so these girls understand, hey, I'm doing this right. right. I just need to keep building on this. And hopefully we see a time where Brush can get it back to where it's cooking as a program again. We remember those days way back when in the 2000s with Molly Ruano and Melissa DeLotte and Jason Makata as coach. Brush has had some good sides over the years, and hopefully with this young group, they're able to build it back to a point where it's like that or similar to that again. But good performance here from Kenston. 16 shots on target, dominant in possession, and really impressive. Bouncing back from that loss to Kirtland on Saturday with a big 5-1 win here over Brush on Monday.